Red Wings Live is presented by Arby's. Try Arby's new meatier, cheesier, and dippier French dip and Swiss sandwich today. Welcome inside the studio alongside meatier and cheesier. I guess that makes me dippier. Chris Osgood, Darren Elliott, Justin White here. And guys, as the Red Wings get set to play their first home game in 12 days, how do they, Chris, as Coach Babcock likes to say, start on time against the Stars tonight?
Well, coming off a long road trip where there's lots of travel, a lot of nights where they ended up in the city at 3, 2 in the morning, very late, lots of travel. They got to play smart tonight. They got to get pucks deep, attack the net, don't turn pucks over in that first period. Play a smart period, set themselves up for success early.
Darren, thus far, the star who has shined brightest for Dallas is Tyler Seguin. The big offseason acquisition has 15 points, 11 of those coming on the road. What kind of a challenge does Seguin pose tonight?
Speed. And he is their catalyst on offense. Not good in the faceoff circle, but good all over the ice otherwise, especially coming through the neutral zone with speed. So that's what you're going to have to contend with Tyler Seguin. Former assistant general manager Jim Nill put his stamp as a GM of the Dallas Stars by going out and making that blockbuster trade for Tyler Seguin.
Much more from both Chris Osgood and Darren Elliott as we continue here on Red Wings Live. Well, after flying across Canada during their recent road trip, the Wings will settle in now for a nice long stretch of games at the Joe. With more on the homecoming, let's get you downtown and hand the reins over to John Keating. Good evening, Keats.
Hey, Justin, good evening to you. You know, everybody wants to be at home as much as you can. Everybody but Bruce Jenner, and no one can blame him for that. But what the Wings went through, speaking of Jenner and his whole mess, was absolutely scary here at home when the Wings lost 3 straight games prior to the road trip. They haven't lost 4 in a row at home in 4 years. And the hope is they brought back with them what they discovered out in Western Canada.
We got to play the way we did on the road. We tightened it up defensively, took care of the puck in the neutral zone, except for the game in Winnipeg. But we got to play a little bit more simple brand of hockey.
Keep it simple and keep winning battles like we were doing on the road. We were desperate, and you know, the 2 points tonight is just important as the points we got on the road.
Wings back to work tonight, as is our friend Mickey Redmond, who joins us from the booth right now. Good evening to you, Mick. How different does this Wings team look than the one that headed west a week and a half or so ago?
It's a new team. We got 20 new guys, John. There were the different guys that played at home and only won, well, really, what was 2 games. They got 2 games that they won in overtime or a shootout, so they get 2 points out of 6 at home. The other 2 games, other than the San Jose game, they didn't look like the team you want to see as your team very much at all. The biggest difference I saw was the offensive pressure that they started to put on right off the hop in Vancouver, and that's what drove them pretty much all 4 games except the bad night they had against the Winnipeg Jets. But different team, different jump, I'd say, and a lot more urgency, which you really have to have, even though you're playing every other day in the NHL these days.
One of the news items of the day is that Jordan Tootoo cleared waivers, and the Wings aren't sure yet what's going to become of him. Is there a place for a guy like Tootoo on this team and in this game right now?
Absolutely. You know, before we got Jordan Tootoo out of Nashville, he had 30 points, and for a guy that's a tough guy and a fighter and an energy guy and only plays 6 or 7 minutes on any given night, he's a very valuable guy, and he's really a good kid, and he's great in the dressing room. Wherever he goes, if he does go, he'll be welcome, I mean, anywhere in this league. He gives you everything he's got every night. He's a little guy with a huge heart. He fought when he had to in Winnipeg the other night right off the hop. That's his calling card. He knows what he has to do, but he comes to play every night. He's got a huge heart, as I said, and everybody likes this kid, boy, because he doesn't say boo, he never complains. And yes, there's a place in the game for a guy that can play tough, give you energy, and give you some points as well when he's playing more time. The problem here, John, is that they've got, you know, by next Wednesday, depending on whether Eriksson comes back or not, you've got the roster issue. You can only have 23, and you've got your cap issue, which is the dollar issue. So unfortunately, it's a bad situation to be in. Yes, he cleared, but he's still here and won't go until next week if that has to happen. But at least the step one for Kenny Holland and management team is that they know they've got that option if they have to have it or have to use it. Unfortunately for Jordan Tootoo right now.
Quick thought on tonight's matchup. This is a pretty good test. This Dallas team comes in with lots of speed.
Yeah, they do. And Patrick Waugh, I guess, said after we beat the Colorado Avalanche that which team skated the best against them. He said the Dallas Stars. This team probably is in the top 5 speed-wise, and the Red Wings are going to be all they can give tonight. Coming off the Western trip, usually it's a tough night coming home. They had the day off on Tuesday, big practice here on Wednesday, and this morning again in the pregame skate ready to go. So the Stars are one of the quickest teams in the league, and it'll be a great test for this young Detroit defense tonight.
Mick, thanks. Be brilliant tonight.
Thanks, John. Good to see you.
Ken and Mick at the bottom of the hour. Wings and Stars upcoming. You'll hear Mick's chuckles. Maybe that will sort of push you in a direction as to who your pick for the McDonald's player of tonight's game should be. The voting presented by the new premium Southwest McWrap. Text Wings, then a space, then your player's uniform number to 37338, or vote online at foxsportsdetroit.com. Final results later tonight on Red Wings Live. In a moment, the one who got away. One of those who shaped the Red Wings is now shaping the Stars, which you'd think would be easy considering the star shape. But Jim Nill has his hands full, changing the culture in Dallas, and you'll hear from him when we come back. You may not have known this. Sean Horkoff has that Max Scherzer thing. 2 different colored eyes. The former Spartan is regularly here in the summer training with the Wings and returns to the Joe tonight as a member of the Stars. A longtime captain at Edmonton. He just couldn't stay healthy there. He was traded to Dallas prior to this season. He has 3 points and has played in all 15 of the Stars games. The addition of Horkoff and the former Red Wing Ray Whitney and defenseman Sergei Gonchar were all the work of their new architect in Dallas, who knows the importance of veteran presence, a lesson that Jim Nill learned well as the longtime lieutenant of Ken Holland here. Our look around the NHL is brought to you by Xfinity. Shannon Hogan spent some time with Jim Nill earlier today. Shannon.
That's right, John. Jim Nill worked here for the Red Wings front office for nearly 20 years, but his relationship with Ken Holland stems from way back. I'm talking in the 1970s. They were teammates on a junior hockey team in Ottawa and have been friends ever since. But Jim Nill has always wanted to be a GM, and that's why he eventually had to spread his wings and head down to Dallas. He's learned a lot from his friend Ken Holland and said the decision to leave was not an easy one.
It was tough, you know, you start with your family. You know, that's the most important thing. And my family grew up here. We had great friends. A big part of the city, you know, and it was tough. It's a great place. The organization's great. Mr. and Mrs. Illich, you know, they treat us like family in that. And it was tough, but it was time also. There comes a time in your career, you know, I think for myself, and I think maybe for the organization, it sometimes changes well for both sides.
Anything you learned from Ken Holland that you've been able to kind of transfer over to Dallas?
Well, it's, you know, being in Detroit all those years, it's like going to university and then kind of getting a double master's. You know, when you start talking about Ken Holland, Jim Devellano, Scotty Bowman, Mike Babcock, some of the best hockey minds in the business. And I've been blessed to be able just to be around them, be part of the organization. With Kenny, I'd say the biggest thing is the patience, and then the being patient with the players. You know, everybody talks, you know, Kenny's favorite saying is, you know, they're going to be overripe. And that's true. They have to be overripe. It's a men's league, and there's a reason you have veterans on the team, and there's a reason guys aren't ready till a certain age, and that's probably the biggest thing I learned from Kenny.
Ken Holland told me he knew that Jim would eventually leave, but he's glad he stayed as long as he did. John, he said, let me put this in perspective for you, Shannon. I'm glad Nick Lidstrom was here 20 years and not 15, and I'm sure glad Jim Nill was here 20 years and not 15 as well. I'll put it back up to you.
All right, Shannon, thanks. By all accounts, Jim Nill already changing the culture, changing the hockey fortunes of the Dallas Stars. We wish him well after tonight against Jim Nill's team. If any member of the Wings scores a hat trick tonight, you're invited to bring a copy of the Scoring Summer to any Arby's tomorrow and receive a free small order of curly fries. You have to look closely, but the nets are smaller in the NHL this year, which means potentially the offense could be greater, to the great dismay of goalies. A couple of them, Chris and Darren, bat that around with Justin White next as Red Wings Live continues in a Scotia.
Don't miss your chance to watch your old favorites return to the ice. The Red Wings and Maple Leafs alumni will battle it out at Comerica Park on December 31st, and you can be a part of it. For tickets, go to redwings.com. Darren Elliott will be calling the alumni games with Ken Daniels, while Chris Osgood will be back between the pipes. Go easy on him, Darren, will you?
I will.
We're going to change spots. We're going to negotiate this halfway through.
We digress. As both of our they're still going to go at it here. As both of our resident goaltenders know, the NHL changed the dimensions of the nets this year, and we've already seen the effects in more ways than one. Darren and Ozzy, well, they took to the ice to check it out for them very selves.
Ozzy, lots been made. New net, slimmer profile, old net, 4 inches all the way around, 4 inches at the top. Doesn't make much of a difference. Well, for goalies, new and old, guess what hasn't changed? Still 4x6 that you're guarding. But in talking to some of the goaltenders, they haven't seen much of a change.
No, it is the exact same size, and for them, that's what makes the most difference for them right here. They got to still protect the same size cage they had to before. For the wraparound, just a little bit shallower here. It's not as deep as it once was, but it hasn't made much of a difference so far. We've talked to some guys, and they don't seem too worried about that aspect of the net. It's mainly the fact that it's a little shallower in the end. For me, it provides more room for the defenseman is the main part for me.
Down low, lad in front. Oh, what a miraculous stop!
Behind the net, it changes some of the passing angles. I can't make that pass to my winger as easily as you can using the new net if you're going hash marks to hash marks. But I think you can also take a look at what about getting it to the slot. Here, it's going that way on your net. One thing they will like, the league will like, it's going to funnel.
Right
we
out
haven't
front of
seen
the net.
that play yet.
We haven't
Ozzy.
seen it, but that's... Maybe we invented something like Nick Lindstrom, a shot off the backboards, but off that side of the net, when it's congested in the crease and you can't make that pass across, and there's a lot of guys, maybe the bank shot off is going to provide you with an opportunity on the net. The goalies aren't worried about the nets as much as people think they are. They're more worried about if it's in or not. That's the main thing. And for me, it's the same size. It provides more room for the defenseman behind the net, better passing lanes, and hopefully we'll see the bank shot, and we were right about that.
Looking good, fellas. Looking good on the ice. Well, it seems like a small change, but it did come into play, Chris, for Jimmy Howard on the road trip. Lots of action with the puck off the boards behind the net because of that extra space. How do you think that can affect him?
Yeah, for sure. I noticed more than any other time this season watching on the road trip. A lot of times that puck comes off the backboards, but here a pass out front, that would have hit the back of the net. Now it's a scoring opportunity for Calgary with Howard sealing everything shut low again. But this happened time and time again. It's just now open space behind it. Now watch. Anderson squeezes through here. Never would have been able to do this move before. Taking away a scoring chance by Calgary by blocking the shot. There's no way he would have fit through there last season, and there he does to block a shot.
Yeah, there's more room behind the net, so there's more space for players behind the net. But more importantly, there's more room for the puck to funnel to the front of the net, which is what the league wanted.
Yeah, well, that's where all the scoring happens, and they want more goals again.
Well, that was just part one of our look at the new nets. And tune in on Saturday to see how the size of the nets affects wraparound goals. Darren and Chris explore that topic on Saturday before the Wings and the Lightning. Still ahead, Mike Babcock and Lindy Ruff matching wits tonight, but they know each other very well. They talk about insider knowledge when Red Wings Live rolls on.
Well, it's not like they needed breadcrumbs to find it, but for the first time since October 26th, the Wings are back here at the Joe. That was a Mike Duggan ago. Tonight will be the Old Barn 109th consecutive sellout. Wings and Stars upcoming. Because of the Olympics and the break that is required, the NHL season is a little bit more frenzied than normal. As you know, Mike Babcock, who led Team Canada to Olympic gold in 2010, will be their head coach again and assisted again by, among others, Lindy Ruff, which makes the Wings Stars game a little bit tricky tonight as two very close colleagues will coach against each other.
You know, I don't think there's a lot of secrets between the two of us, and as well as I know what he's trying to do, you know, he really knows what we're trying to do at the same time. You know, I think there's wrinkles every night. There's adjustments you make towards special teams. There's adjustments he'll make looking at, you know, some of the players we have and some of the matchups he's going to try to get.
He knows what I like to do more than what I know what he likes to do, because I bring my program when I go to the Olympics. So I brought it in 2010, and then I brought my revised edition in 2014. So anything we do, he knows. So what?
Mike Babcock's Wings have won 6 of the last 7 against the Dallas Stars. Any professional athlete, can have bling, but only a select few will have earned that bling. With more on that story, the shiny Shannon Hogan rejoins us now.
John, it's not just the athletes. Everybody loves some bling, and there was some serious bling in the Red Wings dressing room today because the guys that participated in the Calder Cup championship last year got their rings, including the MVP, Tomas Tatar, and he was very excited to show off this bling and the ring itself today after skate. All the guys really excited. I asked Tomas, I said, when are you going to wear this ring? He goes, I don't know. I don't know where it's going in my house. I can't wear it all the time. But I did see him and Joachim Andersen talking about going to lunch. John, they had the ring on.
Why not?
Why not wear it to lunch? You never know who you're going to run into, right?
Who's not impressed by that? Of course, the Wings Stanley Cup ring will be that times 2. Shannon, thanks. She's handling post-game duties after the Wings and Stars tonight. Jimmy Howard, won a bunch of games with the Griffins in his time there, which was longer than he felt he should have been there, but that's the Red Wing way. Now it's all about earning an NHL ring, a win at a time. An evaluation of desperation when we continue in a moment. Jimmy Howard has percentage envy. While the starter for the Stars, Kari Lehtinen, has a stout save rate of .937. Howard's number is 5, but he aspires to more than that. He's turned away 92% of the shots he's seen. The issue is that on many nights there have been too many shots seen. For example, Howard was peppered with 47 shots by the Jets in Winnipeg. Now, 47 shots might be fine if you're a frat house on Saturday night, or apparently if you're at the Toronto Mayor's place. That's a whole nother story, but not for NHL success. Howard wouldn't rate his own rate of play right now, but he is his own toughest critic and knows for his team and himself, there's still more there.
Well, it's part of the job. I mean, you're supposed to go out there and make saves for the guys, and that's what I enjoy doing. Making a big save for goalies, like scoring a goal. So, you go out there and I try to play the same every single night, and not try to change anything. That's try to stay as consistent as possible.
All right, the mustache is for Movember, I'm guessing. All right, all right. Rate that if you would. You won't rate your play, but rate your mustache.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 2. It's awful. I know, I understand, but it's one of those things. It's for a good cause, and it's fun at the same time, even if I do get jabbed around here a little bit.
And Mrs. Howard's reaction is?
Laughing at me, laughter. She wanted to take a photo of me last night, but I wouldn't allow it, so.
Good for Jimmy Howard putting the mustache on. I could do it, but the glasses on the mustache would just be so cliche. Back to Justin Howard now in the Fox Sports Detroit studios. Jade up.
All right, Keats, thanks a lot, guys. Jimmy Howard playing very well as of late. Chris and Darren, what do you expect to see out of Howie tonight?
He knows coming home he has to be sharp, especially in the first period.
Yeah, for sure. He knows himself, but the team as well. They got to be really good, the first period especially. Then bounce off that and have a good game. But they got to play a solid game here. They can't afford to let this one get away with a bunch of home games coming up.
We will be here throughout the night with all the coverage for your viewing pleasure, analysis from these guys, and then reaction post-game on Red Wings Live. Ken and Mick are next, right here on Fox Sports Detroit.